Salut survivors, welcome back to SolutOdka channel in Ancient Cities Guide series. This promising strategy survival game sets you up to lead a tribe starting in the Mesolithic era, build a settlement and progress towards the Neolithic era. In this video guide, I will focus on the top 5 things to do for players that are beginning with the game, in order to help you getting a good head start. From the construction of the fireplace on day 1, all the way up to crafting tools. Please share, like and subscribe for more Ancient Cities videos. To be noted is that this game is in early access, therefore we should expect balanced patches and additional content soon. Now, let's get straight to the video, survivors. In order to provide for an early place to sleep and live, the first solution is to build a fireplace. For you to do so, the very first thing you need to do is to build 2 storage areas, one for each ingredient required by a fireplace structure. Build 1 storage area for raw stones and 1 storage area for sticks, and set both of them as operational by triggering the little gear button to enable production. Then, your people will start gathering these required resources. You might also want to set up an initial gatherer group, with a role to collect these construction materials. And consider increasing the priority of this group, as well as the priority of the 2 storage areas, so you can ensure a rapid gathering of such resources. The fireplace will be the first social place for your people. It will provide warmth, a place to sleep, and people will gather around it to do their crafting and also enjoy relaxation. It takes a bit of time to build it, therefore no need to wait to have collected all the required ingredients for issuing the construction order of the fireplace. Start it right away. Now you have issued construction of the fireplace and the resources required for it. It will take some time for your people to build it. In the meantime, I highly recommend building 1 storage area for each single resource in the game, or almost every resource in the game at least. It is because one general way to give instructions to your community to gather or craft a resource is by creating a storage area for it, and trigger it to be operational by turning on the Enable Production mode. Therefore, build a small resource storage area for each material in the game, and then you can decide which of these storage areas you trigger as being in operating status, and your gatherers will go gather these resources. Among these triggered resources, you can then prioritize a few selected ones in order to accelerate what you need the most at any point in time. Please note that at this stage, you should only build basic storage areas on the ground. Later on, you will be able to build food storage areas for increased preservation time. To avoid reaching the dire situation where you would have consumed your initial food stock, and your people will need to stop everything else they do in order to go find food by any means, it is highly recommended to start gathering your own food slowly but surely. You can decide, based on your location, should you fish, should you gather berries, should you get clams. Pick the food that is the easiest for your village to gather at first. Once again, in order to prioritize that source of food, you need to trigger the storage area for this food source, and if you desire, you can then increase the priority. Please note that some of the foods you can gather in the game are seasonal. For example, if you are starting in spring, you might focus gathering berries or clam, and ignore mushrooms and hazelnuts at this stage of the game. Even though you now have a fireplace, several citizens will not be fully satisfied for not having a proper place to sleep. You need to plan to build huts for your people, for them to have a better sleep quality. There are 3 huts currently available in the game: the straw hut, the small straw hut, and the pelt hut. They can house 6, 3, and 4 people respectively. Depending on your resources and your village design, select the first huts you desire to build. Considering their costs and pros and cons at this stage of the game, myself, I prefer building straw huts, which permits to rapidly house more people, while saving on ropes versus the small straw huts, and economizing on raw hides versus the pelt huts. Therefore, you should trigger the storage areas of the resources that will provide what you need to build these huts. For the straw huts, you will need to enable production of sticks, straws, and plant fibers for crafting the ropes, and also enable production of the ropes themselves. Building huts takes time, so be careful to start one hut at a time, so that the efforts of few people is focused on that one hut, and they are able to efficiently be done with this task. Then, when the first hut is almost finished, you can consider starting another one. Your workers' efficiency depends on the tools they are using. Now that you have built a fireplace as well as storage areas, your people started gathering a bit of food and you have initiated building huts. Next step will be to craft better tools for higher efficiency in everything you do. Some tools will improve the tasks of cropping, cutting, chopping, fishing, etc. I would recommend first giving instructions to craft biface tools for better cropping and cutting, as well as wood access for better chopping and cropping. Afterwards, for improved fishing task efficiency, it is up to you to decide if you want your people to utilize primitive hazel bows and start fishing right away. Otherwise, if you can afford to wait a little longer and make wooden tridents from wooden spears, which have a quite higher fishing efficiency, but they take an additional stage of crafting in the production chain. In order to craft tools, you can either utilize the triggering technique of the storage areas, or you can also create a crafting group and give them specific instructions on what to craft. Personally, I find both ways to give instruction very useful. In any event, you need to ensure constant supply of the raw materials needed for all these tools. These are the raw small stones, plant fibers and ropes, sticks and fine sticks. Please note that sticks are also used for your campfire fuel, so you should take care to never run out of sticks. Now that I shared my advices on how to get a good head start, I'd like to provide you with some of the next step goals. One key thing for your tribe settlement will be to stabilize your food supply and food storage. You will have different means to achieve this general goal. One way is to improve food storage. Rather than piling the gathered foods on the ground in a basic storage area, you should plan on improving it by building some storage structures that provide better food preservation. This can be done either with digging pits structures, which cost sticks and can be very useful for vegetal food storage. Or you can build baskets with reeds, which can be used to store any food whatsoever, including dried fishes. Another way to improve your lasting food supply is to dry fishes. For this, you will need a food storage for raw fishes, a dryer structure, as well as a storage for the dried fishes, ideally baskets. These should be your next steps goals to secure a bright future for your tribe. I hope these tips will be helpful for those of you who are starting, so you can embark on a pleasant journey of leading your tribe and establishing your own successful civilization. If you have any comments, suggestions, additional tips, feel free to leave a message in the comment section below. Also, Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos. Thank you for watching and see you in my next Ancient Cities videos. Until then, have a good day. Cheers!